Hey guys, Caleb with Black Pearl Media. Thank you so much for stopping by. And in this video, we're gonna be aquascaping and setting up the 3.8 Pico tank. So for you guys who didn't see the last video, my name is Caleb. I do a lot of automotive content, but in the wintertime, I switch gears to fish tanks, and it happens that a lot of my cars are down right now, and I'm still saving up some money so I can get some parts to get them back on the road. But I had the itch to spice up my editing space and get a little fish tank in here. I used to make these little 1 gallon ones, but they kept failing. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make something pre-made. And I headed over to Bulk Reef Supply where I picked up this deskmate. And it's a really great little tank so far. I really love the construction and the layout of it. We haven't tested it yet, but we're gonna go ahead and take that next step. And I'm gonna show you guys what you have to do to kind of set this up, aquascape it, use the sand, and just get it flowing and cycling. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
All right, so the first thing I recommend is to fill up your tank just to make sure there's no leaks or cracks or separations. This is critical with used gear especially. I've bought plenty of used tanks, but I always fill them up and let them sit overnight, and I always do it outside. With a brand new tank, there shouldn't be any issues, so what I did in this case is I took the 3.8 gallon into the bathroom, filled it up with some water, took a look at it for a couple minutes, didn't see any issues, so that's good enough for me. This is a very important step because if it gets leaky, it not only ruins the experience, ruins the tank, ruins your aquarium, it also could ruin your house and damage your floors, and that is not something we want to do. So it's worth that extra time just to fill it up, make sure there's no cracks. Also, while I'm in there, I took this opportunity to plug in the pump that came with the kit, and it seems to be working great. The next thing I always do, which you don't have to if you don't want to, but I always recommend it, is you make some sort of a template of the display. So you'll see me here taking measurements of the display and then marking out on a piece of styrofoam how big that area is, and I can set up my rock structure the way I want before I put it inside the tank. Why is this necessary, you're asking? Two reasons mainly for me. One is that this tank is acrylic and it scratches up very easily, so I want to make sure that the rock layout is basically dialed in before I put it in the tank, so I don't have to move it around and risk scratching the surfaces. The second reason is for cleaning. You don't want to have your rock touching the glass on any of the sides because that really hinders your cleaning ability. You can get a magnetic cleaner and all sorts of different cleaners for these kind of tanks, but I specifically like using a toothbrush in these smaller tanks because you can get in those small cracks and crevices, and the bristles are a lot softer, so there's less of a risk of scratching your acrylic. Once you have an aquascape laid out like you want it, kind of like I have here, you can take it an extra step further and use some super glue or this adhesive putty to help bind some of these rocks together. This putty you can get on Amazon or at your local fish store, and you just kind of mesh it together like this. You apply it to the rock, set the other rock on top, and then what I like to do is I like to texture the putty with another piece of rock or a toothpick or something like that. And that way when it hardens, it doesn't look like just some purple blob. It actually looks like it blends in with the rock structure. There we go. I'm liking this aquascape for now. I'll kind of dial it in once it gets in the tank, but as a general structure, I think I'm liking the look of this. Now that the tank is tested and back, we're gonna go ahead and put that rock structure in and make some slight adjustments. At this point, I'd like to mention that some of this rock comes from my main display tank. It's already been in there for a couple years, and there's a lot of great bacteria on there to use in this tank. Now, obviously this won't be the situation for all of you, but if you want to use a simple hack like this, you can go to an aquarium store and you can see if they'll sell you some live rock that is in one of their display tanks, or sometimes they have them already cultured for you ready to go. They're most likely a little bit more expensive, but it is a shortcut that I think is worth it. All right, so now it's time to add the sand. This is really exciting. So I got some Fiji pink sand, which is what I run in my main display as well. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna slowly add some cupfuls and then move it around the rocks with my fingers like you see here. Once you have a good base, one little tip that was told to me a long time ago was to make more sand go towards the back of the tank than the front, kind of sloping it, and it gives the illusion that the tank is deeper than it actually is. And here's another secret weapon. This is just a cup of sand from my main display because it has a lot more of that bacteria, that good bacteria and cultures in that sand. So I'm just gonna add this in there to give it a little extra bump. All right, so that's looking really good. I like this so far. So now it's time for the water. Now I understand that not everybody has a main display that they can take stuff from. So like I said, you can go to a fish store and you can ask them for already cultured sand, water, and rock. You might have to pay for it, but they do sell regular salt water pre-mixed, or you could just buy the salt and mix the water yourself. This is something you're gonna have to do in the future if this is your only fish tank. So you'll have to get used to doing that. There's plenty of videos on that. And if you want me to make a video on how to pre-mix your own salt water, let me know down in the comments and I'll be happy to do that. I'm just gonna slowly add the water in, making sure to pour the water over the rocks, and that will help to not disturb the sand that we just put down. That's looking like enough water there. So we're gonna go ahead and plug in all the accessories. What we have for equipment in the back is very simple. We have a 100-watt heater that you can get at any fish store, and the return pump that came with the kit. You just plug those in and you're ready to go. Now at this point the water will look very cloudy, but give it some time to run through. Especially overnight, you should wake up and find your tank looking just like this.
All right, guys, so there you have it. That is how you set up a tank. And it doesn't matter what size it is, these principles work for any size. The rocks are in, the sand's in, everything's looking really great. I'm really pleased with it. I hope that you guys found this educational and entertaining, so I hope you guys will hit that subscribe button. Next video is gonna be adding some livestock and then some coral, so I hope you guys follow the progression of this little 3.8 gallon. Check out Bulk Reef Supply for your own. I'll put a link in the description as well, and I'll see you guys on the next video.